7:03 in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm being joined virtually via Zoom by the Haitian ambassador to the United States, His Excellency Bocchit Edmond, to get an immediate update on the situation in Haiti. As you know, last Wednesday, armed mercenaries stormed the presidential palace and assassinated President Jovenel Moïse and severely injured his wife. I'm speaking to the ambassador from his base in Miami, where he's actually visiting the First Lady, Martine Moise. Good morning. Bonjour, Ambassador Edmond. How are you?
Good morning to you, and good morning to the Trinidadian and Tobagoan audience. So it's a pleasure to be here.
So, of course, what has happened in Haiti is extremely shocking, and we're very concerned about it in the region. The First Lady was seriously injured. I know you've met with her before, and you're in constant contact. How is she doing?
I think she's making little progress. She's really doing her best, and she has been helped by the doctors here to improve. And I think we start seeing some good results. Hopefully, in the next week, she will be starting to see the light out of the tunnel. But now she's getting much better than she came in.
Were her injuries life-threatening at all, or is it how?
I don't know if I mean, since I didn't speak to the doctors, but to what I understood, they were really serious injuries. But I cannot say they were life-threatening. But I know that they were doing their best to help her to get out of this horrible situation.
And of course, despite fighting to regain her health, she offered a statement via her Twitter account on Saturday, offering support to the Haitian people, asking them to not to forget the work that her husband, the late president, was doing in that country, and to not let the country descend into chaos. What were your thoughts when you heard that message that she gave out via her official Twitter account?
You know, since I heard it recently, but I don't know if it's. I think she offered really courage to the Haitian people, but she really showed that she herself, she's a woman of courage, because having gone through this horrible situation, and to find that courage to speak. And to try to, to encourage others, that shows you how strong she is.
What is the current situation in Haiti? I know several persons have been identified as being Colombian militia or Colombian of Colombian origin. Two of the persons who were arrested are Haitian Americans, and I believe that the police are still searching for 8 possible Colombian militants who were involved in the entire exercise. Now, obviously, the president would have had a security detail at the presidential palace. None of them were injured. What are some of the information that has come to hand in terms of how it happened, and possibly even why he was assassinated?
Oh, first of all, let me clarify that for you. That did not occur at the National Palace. That occurred at his private residence. Secondly, I understand those people who are currently in custody. They are being interrogated, and we believe the investigation will continue to go on. But I must tell you as well, yesterday, a prominent doctor, Haitian American, was also arrested because according to what the Colombians are saying, he was one of the contacts, one of those who hired them. So he was arrested yesterday in Port-au-Prince, and we believe those people will continue to help after interrogation. Certainly we will discover some more people or some other connections. But so far, we believe there are 1 or 2 companies have been identified, 2 based in Miami. So with the help of the United States Foreign Bureau of Investigation, FBI, who are already on the ground, I believe, and as well some Colombian experts, and I believe they will help to make sure that the information is out, and we will try to identify those who were behind this horrible act.
Now, this is not the first time that someone has attempted to end the life of President Moïse. Apparently, he's at least escaped 1 assassination attempt before. I know this is a very early stage in the investigations, and these gentlemen have only just been arrested, and as you said, they've arrested a 3rd Haitian-American doctor who is part of the plan. What are the initial thoughts as to the reason for this attempt?
I wish I knew. That certainly would have helped if we knew exactly the real reasons, motives. But as you know, President Moïse had a lot of political enemies because of the reforms he started, because of his policies. He believes that the Haitian people have suffered too much there. It's time for them to have their share of the country's wealth. And it's time for the Haitian people to get service from the state, from the government, and so on. You know, those kind of policies and reforms, they have created a lot of anger around many groups of interest. And therefore, we don't know. So we will have to dig deeper and the investigations. And we understand that those people who are currently in custody, they will continue to help the national police, the foreign investigators, and to go deeper. And then what we want, we want that every stone, you know, no stone should be left unturned. So, I mean, everything, we have to go for everything until we get justice.
Yes, and Haiti absolutely deserves justice. Our own Prime Minister, in a press conference on Saturday, spoke of his shock at getting the news. He said it's different when you hear about it from someone else, but when you've had meetings or several meetings with this person and had a conversation with them, it hits different. CARICOM had an emergency meeting following the news of the president's assassination and said that they plan to take a lead. I know that you've reached out to the United States formally to help in the investigation. What has CARICOM, has there been any follow-up response from CARICOM? What is CARICOM's response in this matter, and how are they able to assist?
First of all, let me say thank you to the CARICOM heads for, you know, convening that emergency meeting on Haiti. And I believe they have shown leadership on this. And I want to thank especially the Prime Minister Woli. CARICOM has always been standing by our side. Hopefully, we do believe that all those offers, we will continue to work out with them and then make sure that where they believe they can do something, they can help in something, we'll make sure that we open that collaboration. But certainly, I believe Foreign Affairs in Haiti is working on that. But hopefully, CARICOM will have a certain role to play in this, and we welcome that.
So I know, what does Haiti require now from the region? What does Haiti, what assistance does Haiti require?
Well, listen, certain Caribbean countries, they may have some expertise as well in investigation. We certainly believe that in the investigation process, if there is any need for Haiti or for the experts to call on them, and I believe they will be open to help. As well, if there will be any information regarding, you know, money tracing and so on I mean, all those things. So I strongly believe the CARICOM government will stand ready to help and the process. But so far, that's the only thing I can say with regards to this investigation.
Ambassador Edmond, I know the interim president, Claude Joseph, had received some support from even Haiti's envoy, the UN's envoy to Haiti, for his position. But just before he had been assassinated, President Moïse had appointed Ariel Henry, but Mr. Henry had not been sworn in. What is the situation with that? Who is the legitimate prime minister, of Haiti at the time, and what is the status of elections? Because I know the international community is saying that elections are due, because even President Moïse was ruling via decree because elections were supposed to be held in 2019. What is the current political situation in Haiti?
But listen, I must tell you that there is one man now in charge. He's the current Prime Minister, interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph. As you said, President Moïse on Monday, 2 days before his death, named Ariel Henry as the Prime Minister that was supposed to take over of the interim government. But he was named, but he was charged to form a new government, the National Unity Government. That was in the process. But unfortunately, the president was assassinated. Therefore, there was a political vacuum. The interim government was in place. Therefore, that political vacuum had to be filled. And then that's why the Prime Minister Joseph stepped in to make sure that there is no political vacuum. But now, I believe they are having some discussion between themselves and see how they can get their way out of this. But in the meantime, Prime Minister Joseph is assuming the continuity of the state. And
finally, what is the mood on the ground in Haiti?
You know, people still are in shock. You know, this happened in our country more than 100 years ago, when the last president was assassinated in 1915. We never thought that this is something we would have lived in our generation and our time. But unfortunately, this has happened. Now it's more than ever, as I always said, for Haitians to seek unity, even in time of despair or even in time of sorrow. It's very important to see how we can work together, how we can push the national interest forward, how we can make sure we work together to live a better Haiti for our future, for our kids, the future of this country. Otherwise, if we don't do that, if we don't work together to do that, history will be very harsh on us. Therefore, I believe there are voices and other sectors of the society, all stakeholders, they will continue to work together and see how we can move forward together as Haitians. And after, international can come and help us. But first, Haitians have to make the first step by unifying, by putting themselves together, and by putting Haiti first.
I think that's a very strong point upon which to end this conversation, and I think the region definitely stands in support of Haiti's self-determination and proving to the rest of the world that Haiti remains capable of taking care of its own affairs. But if necessary, I'm sure the region will be very much willing to assist. Ambassador Edmond, my condolences to you and the Haitian people for your loss. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We really are grateful for your ability to come on and let us know what has been happening.
Thank you so very much for having me. It's been a great honor and pleasure. First time to speak on a Caribbean network. This is something that's long overdue, and thank you so very much for having me. And hopefully you will continue to create that contact between ourselves.
Most definitely. Merci beaucoup.
Plaisir. À bientôt. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Okay, we're going to take a very, very quick break and come back with more right after this. I think we're switching tack to talking about girls in technology, so you're going to be sure to come back after the break to have that discussion with the Digital Foundation.